Okay, so I figured I would make a video to show everybody how to make rosaries. It would probably be easier. I'm gonna film it so that you can actually see what I'm doing, and I am right-handed, so maybe I can find somebody to do left-handed for those of you, but for now it's a right-handed video, and hopefully this will make it easier to make rosaries, and we'll get more people in the ministry. So we're gonna start out with getting your beads ready. Get your string, and you're gonna leave about a 2 to 3 inch tail here at the end, and you're going to wrap 4 times, crossing over this right here. So you're going to go 1, see, now you've made an X, 2, 3, 4. You're going to hold it with your finger, you're going to come to the end of your string, and you're going to bring it underneath and up through the little canal. You're going to keep the tail behind it. I use my finger to do that. I'm showing you messing up. Okay, and then you're just going to keep pulling this, making sure your string's behind it. Pull it, and then you're going to pull it right off. What I like to do is just take my fingers and kind of work it so you get a nice, neat little knot. Okay, and then I pull it to tighten it down. Then we're going to bring up our string here, and we're going to start putting on our 10 beads to make our first decade. And what I like to do, for those of you who are beginning, is to get your beads laid out, because the worst thing that can happen when you're doing this is to get what you think you have as 10 beads on here, and believe me, I've done this quite a few times. I always count them just to make sure. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. See, I did it. I put another one because one of these beads probably rolled over there. So you always want to make sure you have 10, because what's going to happen is you're going to make your knot again, just like we did before. I'm going to put this over here, and we're going to wrap it into the X. 2, 3, 4.
Can you show that again?
Yep. Put your string on here once, making your X. 2, 3, 4. So you want to wrap it 4 times. Bring your string back up through the center of the canal, and we're going to pull it tight. Pull this off, and then do the same thing again. Just slowly work it with your fingers so that your knot is nice and neat. Now we're going to put the alternating color bead on, pull it through, and now we're going to do the same thing. Cross it to get your X, and then 2, 3, 4. Wrapped 4 times. The first being the cross to get the X. Pull this through. See, now you got to watch, because what happens is sometimes your beads get in there. You just got to pull it back through. And there we have it. Now, as I said before, you always want to count your 10, because if you get 2 or 3 decades on here and you find out you messed up, then you got to pull all your knots out, and it's happened. So just always count, make sure. So we're going to go through this, and we're going to make the next set. Put your 10 beads. All right, these should be my last 2, but like I said, I will count them, because it's very easy to be distracted, especially if you're sitting at night watching TV or chatting with someone while you're doing it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Good. Make our knot, cross it, get the X. That's your 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull your string down, get a hold of it. Wrap it up through the canal again. Make sure your beads are out. Pull it tight. Roll it, work it. See, you get a nice, neat little knot doing that. Put the next one on. Pull it through. Okay, here we go. Cross it over. Oh, there's your X. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We're going to continue to do that until we get all 5 decades on there. Okay, just to show you where I'm at, because I paused it just to do the last remaining decades. You'll see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decades, and we have our Father beads. And I'm going to finish up with the last knot for this. Cross over, make your little X, 2, 3, 4. Okay, pull it, string through. Okay, so this is going to be our last knot in this part. Now what I always do myself is I lay these down so that I bring the knots up together and I make sure everything's lined up right. That's another way of knowing that I did everything correctly. Now this part here is we're going to put the medallion on, and I cannot stress enough how important it is to look at both sides. You'll see we have Mary on one side and Jesus on the other. We want Mary facing out. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the string through the right side hole at the top of Mary. Can you see that? Okay. We're going to pull it all the way through so that it looks like this. Then we're going to take this other end,
Which is the end you began with.
which is the end we began with, and we're going to put that through like this. Okay, so you're going to have it look like this. And then you're going to cross them in the back so that your little tail is over here. We're going to put the string through. This is the side that Jesus is on. I'm going to put the string through, turn it back over, and pull it. So it's going to look like this in the back. You're going to cross over Jesus. Can you see that okay? Now we're going to turn it this way, and we have our strings here. And now what we're going to do is, there's a couple of ways of doing it. This is how I do it. It's what works for me. So I'm going to cross this over. So my tail's here. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, tail's out that way. I'm going to pull this through. Pull this off and do the same thing, work it, but at the same time you're going to have to kind of pull this at the same time. I use both of my fingers, as you can see, here and here, pulling it and working it, and now I have my knot. Now I'm just going to ignore this. I'm going to put this one on. We're going to make another knot. Cross it over, 1, or that was 1, that's 2, 3, 4, so we have our 4 knots, or 4 crosses over. Pull this up through the canal, pull this out, make our knot. The last 3 beads on here. Our last knot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, our last knot of 4, I should say. And you always want to work it. You want these to be neat. It's very easy to get it all jumbled up. Okay, same thing as we've been doing all along. Pull this out. Make it neat. Okay, now, here's our last bead. We're going to put this through, and you're not gonna make a knot. You're gonna put that through, and then you're just gonna put your cross on. It doesn't matter which way you put the cross on, because it's gonna end up spinning. And what we wanna do is we wanna have about this much space here, no more than 1 inch. Okay, you're gonna hold it like this. This is always the hard part for everybody. You're gonna lay this over it, just as you would the other ones. Okay, see how we just have the 2 lines laying across, the 2 strings? You're gonna pull the long one under, and you're gonna wrap it. I do 7. I don't know why, I just do 7. You can do 6, whatever you have, don't worry about it. So you're gonna do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's the same knot that we did all of these, it's just 7 instead of 4. And then we're gonna pass this up through it. Pull it tight. You're gonna pull this off. And now you'll see this is what it's gonna look like. It's kind of loose. And what I do is I hold the beads with this hand, the string with my thumb and forefinger, and this I put here, and then I kind of pull it and spin it and just work it like this. As I'm pulling this one, I'm spinning it, and you'll see it gives you a very neat knot. Okay? And then this kind of spins. That's why it doesn't matter which side you put the cross on. And there we have our rosary with Mary facing out with no string over her. It's very important, because if you put the string over Mary, I have to take it apart and redo it, and it's very difficult. And that's it. And then you would hand them in like this, and then we always check them over and we cut the strings and finish them up. One last tip, if you find your string fraying, you can always dip a little clear nail polish. It stiffens it up and it makes it easier to put through the beads. And that's it. That's how we make our rosaries. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys, and if you have any questions, you know how to find me.